some years ago, I noticed that I was doing this funny thing in sales conversations, which was I was sometimes actively dissuading people from buying from me. Well, not exactly, but kinda, yes. This is Mark Silver with Heart of Business, and I think that this is a part of the sales conversation that can be really hard to get to when you're in earlier stages of business development, when you really need the money, like you really need the money. And the sale would make a big difference to you. And so I have a lot of empathy if it's hard to approach this. And it's a really interesting thing to play with if you can. And it's not manipulative, it's not any of this. It's sometimes I would have people come to me who like, hey, I want to be your client and I'm interested. I'm like, all right, let's talk about it. And we'd talk about it. And there'd come a point where I had asked a bunch of questions and found out about their business and what's going on. And I'd say, you know what, you're not doing too badly. You're actually on the right path. You're asking a lot of the right questions of yourself. You're working with what needs to happen. Sorry, the camera was at a weird angle. And I don't know if you need me. I don't know if you need this. Why not just keep doing what you're doing? And this question, I would rarely get to the point where I would say to someone, no, don't work with me. You don't need a coach. I've done that sometimes. I remember very memorably, there's been a few times actually, but I'm thinking of one in particular where someone came to me and they were asking, we were asking all the questions. I'm like, it sounds like you're at a really good point and you're a little tired from getting here, but things are working well. And it sounds like you don't really need to push for any next level. You could just rest. And they're like, and enjoy it. And they're like, oh my God, yeah, I don't need to keep going at all. I can just enjoy where I am. And it was a great conversation and they didn't hire me and I was really happy about it. And I have to say that I was in the lucky position of having plenty of business and, so it wasn't a loss to me. So I get how that doesn't always feel good, but it can feel good in the heart where you arrive at something very truthful. And so I ask these questions that are truthful for me. It's like, you're I know it's work and I know it's, you're in a challenging place, but you're doing the right things. If you keep going the way you're going to get there. And usually what happens in those moments is that someone will come back and say, oh, but it's so hard and I feel kind of lonely and I'm struggling too much. I know this can be more fun. And the reason I want help is not because I can't do it on my own, but I don't want to do it on my own. And I think I can go faster and have more fun and be more effective with help. And that always made sense to me. And I said, yeah, I get it. So yeah, I would love to work with you. Let's do this. But I asked the question, if you can find that when it's truthful, it's not always truthful, you don't want to say something dishonest as a manipulative technique, do not use this as a technique. But for me, a big part of being in sales conversations with potential clients or participants in a program is to ask the truthful questions, ask what's really on my heart. And if I see that someone's doing reasonably well, I'll say, so why do you want to spend time and money working with me or someone like me? And I want to say that this question can demonstrate a tremendous sincerity on your part. And it gives them a tremendous freedom in what they're doing. And yes, there is this thing that can happen where then they are then quote unquote selling themselves, which is why sometimes people will use this as a sales technique. quote, the reverse psychology and manipulation and all of that. But if you're asking it sincerely, really from a place of non-attachment and also from a place of really seeing how well they're doing, people feel so loved and cared for with that question, I find. I know that I do when someone says it to me, when somebody asks me that question in situations. Wow, it's like you're doing pretty well. Why do you want the help? And it also helps to reveal what they're really wanting from working with you as a practitioner or teacher or facilitator or whatever. So if you can get there and it feels honest and you can be unattached, if that question comes up in your heart, you might try asking it and seeing what comes up. All right. I hope this has been fun and interesting. I'm so curious if any of you have tried this before, and what your experience has been. All right. Blessings.